Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to yet another edition, another installment of It's Me Speaking to You. I am, as always, your ever-faithful host, Mr. Jeffrey Wilson, coming to you live and always direct from the gateway to the West. And today, I am so very thankful these cats took a little bit of time out of their oh-so-busy schedule. We have the hosts of the We Are Live radio program. This program can be heard on CBS Sports Radio, 920 AM, 105.7 HD2 FM. Or you can stream that bitch live or whenever. Podcasts like the Dickens at InsideSTL.com. We have Mr. Chris Denman and Travis Terrell have joined us today. Thank you for joining us today, folks. There they are. What's up, fellas?
Good morning. How are you, sir?
What's up, man? Good to be here.
Man, thank you guys, man. You guys have just been absolutely smashing it, dude. I have to say, I've been following you guys for a hot minute. You guys were gracious and cool enough to have another podcast I happen to co-host with UFC Hall of Famer Pat Miletich. You guys are gracious enough to have us on to chop it up on our show. Dude, killing it. You guys recently just got back from L.A. We're on the Adam Carolla show. Holy shit, that was pretty huge. I had listened to you guys last night, had stand-up comic and straight-up hilarity ensuer Jay Mohr, who's been on your show, 4 or 5 times.
That's right.
You guys are killing it, man. You guys are absolutely slaying it. Congrats.
Kind words, man. Thank you, and thanks for having us on. I'm going to go ahead. This is Chris. I'm going to take all the credit, actually, if we can just get that out of the way. At the first part. So, I mean, there's a lot of talk now that it's the black man's time, but I'm here to tell you, I'm not going away.
No, you're not. And you guys are killing it, man. You guys got a nice little synergy, awesome chemistry. And before I get, obviously, too ahead of myself with the Carolla in L.A. and what you guys are up to now, like everyone loves a good origin story. Whichever one of you guys can take it first. How did you guys get started in the business, and then how did you guys link up to start the show?
Travis?
Want me to take this one? Okay.
However, man.
Chris and I have known each other for about 10 years now. We used to work at a microbrewery in Columbia, Missouri, where I was attending Mizzou and Chris was attending Columbia College at the time. And we just basically struck up a rapport. We had a really cool relationship. We would play pranks on each other while at work, and we would have a lot of fun outside of it. And we ran in the same circles, even though we went to 2 different institutions. And we just built up a nice little friendship, and we had a lot in common. And one thing that I really enjoyed about our friendship is that Chris and I come from 2 different worlds. He comes from a rural farm town in southern Missouri. I come from North City, St. Louis. But our conversations and our interests were always the same. And that was very unique to me. And I think a lot of folks recognize that as well. They enjoyed our company. They enjoyed a lot of the conversations Chris and I would have. And so the moment of truth came one day where we were like, hey, let's stop BSing. Let's finally do this podcast thing. Well, Chris found an opportunity with Tim McKernan at Inside STL where he was brokering time between 8 to 10 p.m. And so he threw us into the fire. We essentially brokered that time, and Chris and I just put ourselves out there. We didn't have an official format. We didn't have any rules we wanted to go by. We just wanted to be able to have a fun, laid-back conversation with people we found very interesting. And it seems, at least at this point, people have taken an interest to that. People enjoy the idea of us just knowing each other for as long as we have and being able to build that chemistry live on air 5 nights a week.
And when was that? I don't know if you said that already. When was that where you guys started up the show?
Oh, man,
10 months ago.
A year ago now. Yeah, 10 months ago.
Not even. Yeah, it's pretty wild. It's
very cool.
Yeah, man. Travis had some stand-up experience, but we had never done anything like this. We just kind of followed Adam Carolla, Joe Rogan, people like that as far as podcasts go. And then we were also fans of The Morning After and Tim McKernan. And we got that. And the thing that I would definitely say about all this, that's the most important, that anyone who's truly involved and very cognizant of why things work. I had a sales background, and then the rapport with Travis that I have, without that, there is no show. Just with us out hustling, marketing, and getting in on just the sales basics of that for the show, because you have so many people in radio that come out of an expensive university thinking that people are going to give a shit what they have to say. and nobody does.
Right.
So you have to make your own way in that sense. So I think that's extremely important.
Well, and it is, and I mean, you guys are really on and tapping into, and I guess I am as well, this kind of burgeoning market, this burgeoning kind of industry that, it's all kind of morphing. Radio's kind of changing into, like, everybody and their mother now has a podcast. And,
right.
You really don't have to be at the behest of a Clear Channel or any corporation. Some of the good ones are really, really being able to monetize these things. Like you mentioned, Joe Rogan, Bill Burr, Adam Carolla. I mean, they've been really, really able to take this thing far.
The constant theme I've realized is that there's been the elimination of the middleman. So it used to be this buffer or this filter. There used to be a guy in a corner office determining whether or not a person can go live on air, determining whether or not this person is good enough for broadcast. Well, now you have the talent, if you will, the personalities going directly to the audience, the talent now going out and getting the sponsorship. So it's based upon the personalities to build their own brand. And now that you have that, it's based on your hard work. It's based on what you're putting into your content. And so that's why everyone's out here now trying to build that brand and find that audience, because that middleman has now gone away.
Well, and what do you think about, it's almost like with the accessibility of the technology, I'm a photographer as well, but, everybody has a camera now, and everybody thinks they're a photographer. With this accessibility to the technology, the market really gets flooded, as we've seen, and obviously we almost have to wait for the cream to kind of rise to the crop, but what are your thoughts on almost the oversaturation of this industry right now? Even though it is just starting, like everybody and their mom has a podcast.
I think
Travis,
it's in the time. Oh, go ahead, Chris. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say I have an opinion on that just from being a podcast listener for, 7 years now, more, or whatever that would be. Whether it's podcast, radio, basketball, acting, or sales, you're exactly right. The cream will rise to the top. And if you treat people like shit and you think that you're more than what you should be, at some point that bell's going to ring and you're not going to be able to answer it. Now, just because you work hard doesn't mean you're going to make it either. But if you have some talent, you have a great attitude, and you're willing to eat shit for a little while, I think that at some level, obviously varying degrees of success, you can make it. And whatever making it means, I don't know. Maybe that's we're going to interview with somebody that you love, and that's it, and that's as far as you go. Or maybe you parlay it into an acting career, or further your acting career like somebody like you could, Jeffrey. I know what that means, but the saturation to me, I don't mind it. I like challenges, and I like seeing other people succeed. Hopefully, just being in our position, if I'm being selfish, hopefully there's still plenty of room to evolve and grow and move forward, and it's not just a waste of time.
Jeffrey, I think you know this as well as anyone, and this isn't anything profound, and I'm sure you and your audience already know this, but working at the craft, like, yes, it's a podcast, yes, it's a radio show, but it still means you have to work at your craft, get better. Look at those who are out here succeeding. Look at the Carollas and the Jay Mohrs of the world. Look at these folks who have been doing it for so long and basically paying attention to your craft and showing it its proper respect. And that's one thing we've learned. We haven't put ourselves in a situation where we think we've made it. We know we can be better. We know there are things we can improve upon. And so that's one thing I think will ultimately separate everyone in any industry, is that your continuation at getting better at your craft.
And absolutely, and I've never really believed in luck so much, and I always thought luck is kind of when preparation meets opportunity.
Yeah, sure.
And, if your opportunity is there and you're not prepared, you're just you're kind of pissing in the wind. And so speaking of that, man, you guys obviously have prepared yourself and really put yourself in some really dope positions, man. Like I said, you were a few weeks ago on Adam Carolla's show. As a part of this grind and putting yourself out there, and like you're talking about, Terrell, creating your brand, you guys have run into some pretty heavy hitters. Like I said, everybody has their podcast, and really, success, leaves clues. You want to follow those clues. So what was your approach to that in linking up with these heavy hitters?
I think it's like you said, it's being prepared, it's being ready, it's leveraging, we are small-time St. Louis radio, but there is CBS next to our name. And you have to know what you have as far as advantages, disadvantages. If you're not a stand-up comedian and somebody offers you to go do stand-up, don't go do stand-up. If you are capable of doing something like we did with the live show. We've been on Carolla's podcast twice now. I can't believe it when I say that. So
nice.
Having him on, getting better every day, like Travis said, continuing your craft, reaching out to people directly, being friendly and professional, I think that's what's led to it. And then at the same time, taking a serious approach to it. So with Jay Mohr, who we had on last night, who's been on our show 5 times, he's coming to St. Louis in September. I guarantee we actually are doing some special stuff with him. He didn't respond to our emails, or he, in lack of a better term, flaked on probably 5 emails. And then I literally, out loud said, fuck this guy, we don't need this guy. Who the hell is he, whatever. And then Travis just kind of encouraged me. He's like, why don't you send one more, see if we can get him on. And it turned into a very high-profile, very satisfying relationship. I mean, he enjoys it with coming on our show. We love having him on. He brings the heat. So to get back to what you originally said, reaching out to people like that, reaching out to people in powerful positions, if you get those opportunities, again, be polite, be yourself, and then be sure that you're going to be able to deliver on that. Because if we had issues with stage fright, whenever Adam Carolla asked us to come up in front of a sold-out show at the pageant, probably not our best venue to be in, but it worked out. So, Travis, I don't know what you think about
No, it reminds me, I joke about one of my favorite films is the movie Life with Eddie Murphy and Martin Lawrence, and Bernie Mac's character in there. There was a moment where he essentially turns to the guys and says, don't be scared. Don't be scared. Like, you can't have that element. You can't have that element of fear. You really have to go out there.
I was just going to say, sure.
You're right. And you've seen it before. You've been out there. You cannot be afraid of wanting to be great. And, you may fall short.
I mean, that sounds like, I don't know, an overstatement, but I mean, it's like, I'm sorry, you can't overstate that enough.
Right.
People have so much fear, man. Fear of what other people are going to think, fear of failure. No, they're going to say no. What do they think about me? I mean, and it has to start with a basis belief in yourself that, I belong in the fucking room, dude. Like I said, I'm not scared. And like you said, like you were talking about, Chris, I'm not scared, and put me on the spot. I'm prepared and I can deliver. So I mean, all of that, and we're all still growing and learning, like you said. Yeah. And it is a big, huge process. And it's, like I said, I'm pretty stoked, man. You guys have kind of really put yourself in some cool situations, and it's cool to see, man. It really is cool to see.
That means a lot. Thanks, man. Yeah, it's exciting. It's I'd compare it to I don't know what your background is, but if you've done jiu-jitsu or you fought or whatever, it's one of those things where what sucks more, knowing you could have done better, and then getting your ass kicked or going up and bombing, knowing that you didn't do what it takes to get to that position. And then even with our situation with radio and live shows and things like that, to me personally, stage fright or just public speaking in general is fun as hell. And as compared to sucking and not doing it, there's only one choice: go up.
And then it's like facing that fear is like so empowering, brother. I mean, we've all done it in our own little ways, but it's like at the end of the day, my thing is like, what the fuck they gonna do? Take away my birthday? They boo at me. I still go home at the end of the night. I still go to sleep. Like, it's still all good. Like, as long as people define themselves sometimes by their failures, and this again comes back to like believing in yourself and shit. Like, there are no failures. They're all just learning opportunities. Not to get all Tony Robbins and shit.
No, you're right. No, dude, you're exactly right, Jeffrey. I'm glad you brought up the learning part, because even when we had you on the show recently, like, I love the idea of meeting new people, and at the age of 32, that I can have a conversation with someone and learn something new. That, to me, still fascinates me. And being able to be on stage with Adam Carolla, it was a masterclass. We were able to watch Adam Carolla just simply work a stage, work a room, and we were less than 5 feet away from him. That was the thing that I got the most out of, just watching someone who knows what they're doing, they're very well prepared, and they're talented, and watching them work. I get complete satisfaction out of that. I really do enjoy that part of the entire experience.
Like I said, success leaves clues, man, and I know you guys are the type of guys to pay attention to that shit too, and it just adds to your growth. So as you guys, go ahead. I'm sorry, Chris.
Oh no, you're exactly right, and I think what we all probably have in common is we're not 18, 19, 20 years old, I think you get some of these experiences, you get some scars, you get some real life failures, and whatever. I mean, I say this loosely. I know you've done some bigger stuff, Jeffrey, but the entertainment business, or whatever the hell it is that we're doing, man, I've been hit in the face with a bat, literally. Like, come on. Like, you think somebody's gonna worry me if I get booed out of somewhere, or be late on a car payment, or have a relative be sick? That stuff sucks. But yeah, stage entertainment, that's fun, man.
Yeah, we're not Chilean coal miners. You know what I mean? There are worse gigs to have. Like, it's all good. Well, check it out, man. Like I said, you guys have been doing, like, killer stuff, man. And I know some of it you probably can't talk about. But, I mean, you guys, your growth is really, like, exponential. You guys are, like, doing shit week to week, day to day. What do you guys got going on, man? Like I said, you guys are less than a year old, but, killing it, man. So what's up for We Are Live here in the next coming weeks and months?
For sure, August 5th at the Saxon Speakeasy. That's a big one. We've got some really cool partners locally. We've got Salt and Smoke and the Social Affair. They're doing food. We've got Spirits of St. Louis, which is part of Square One Brewery. They're providing liquor. We've got Artisan Well doing the cocktails. So we're going to do like a coursed meal, live music by a band called Sweetie and the Toothache. And Travis and I will be doing our best to entertain. But, yeah, get tickets. I just got to promote that. WeAreLiveRadio.com. Tickets for that on for Friday the 5th. So more live events is my answer. We are forming a larger company that's going to have some cool aspects that we can't completely go into, but I will say that we're partnering with some interesting people from around St. Louis, and we're going to have – it's basically – going to allow us to take things to the next level. And honestly, and I say this is not even holding cards back, we don't quite know what those next levels are.
The deep tease, ladies and gentlemen, the deep tease.
It is. Travis, I mean, I'm just super pumped for all the stuff that's kind of coming to fruition through the hard work. And again, in a relatively short amount of time.
Yeah, it's essentially taking the concepts we've built through the radio show and pumping it with steroids. So it's basically we're really maximizing what we've been able to build over the last 10 months with our relationships and the content we've been able to produce. And so we're looking to maximize that. So, yeah, like Chris said, we'll be able to unveil, hopefully, this grand plan here the next coming weeks. But we think a lot of folks who have been following us, who've been supporting us over the last few months, will certainly appreciate this new venture we're about to take off on. And we're excited about the future, man. We really hope that everyone continues to give us feedback and continue to support, because we're having a lot of fun doing this. Chris and I have had some very, very shitty jobs of the past. So to be in this position to do something that's extremely fun, that involves our friends and that involves the people we've always admired, this is a whirlwind for us. So we just hope everyone just is patient with us and stands by, because we're on to doing bigger things.
Well, and again, not to get all Anthony Robbins about it, but that's totally, game changing type philosophy, man. It's not about just making a living; it's about quality of life, man. And if you can do both, if you can have a dope quality of life while still, making a living and doing what you love, dude, that's cool shit. But speaking to what you guys, with this dynamic exponential growth of the whole industry, something you guys have just touched on, you guys haven't rested on your laurels of just the radio show or just a podcast. It's about content and creating more and more content, because literally, as you watch anybody successful in this, content is king. So if you don't mind, real quick, speak to that about doing more than just, having one aspect, one stake in the fire, if you will.
Well, we look at guys. Oh, go ahead, Chris.
No, after you.
I was going to say, we look at guys like an Adam Carolla and Kevin Hart. We're talking about two guys who have been extremely successful throughout their career, who are on top of their games right now, who still put in 60, 70-hour work weeks. If those two at the top of their game, the biggest in the industry, are putting in that much work, I, myself, my Chris, and the partners we are working with have to put in just as much time, because those guys are truly going after it, and they're producing content. Kevin Hart's going to put out a brand new special here in a couple of months, and the guy's already made $87 million this year alone, and we still have another 6 months left in the year. So in order to be successful in this industry, you have to keep producing new, fresh content. And the beast is hungry for it. There's an audience for new, fresh content all the time. Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Plus, all these avenues, and people want more. So if you're not producing, you're not eating, you're probably going to die in this industry.
Well, I don't know if you've seen the movie You Subscribe on Netflix. I don't know if it's there anymore, but it's just about a bunch of different people monetizing YouTube. And one of them was, I think the show was called Drunken Cooking. And she had 500,000 subscribers. But my point is she was making X amount of dollars, a nice living off of something so freaking basic and kind of stupid. So if they can do it with something like that, imagine putting some thought and some craft and creativity into your content. Imagine what you can do, which you boys are doing. Kudos.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, it's important, man, and it's like you said. I mean, if your thing is painting toy cats, you're probably not going to break into into the big money or anything. But I think it's important to have a plan, have some. There's some risk that has to be taken, but at the age and the point that we're at, I mean, I've had my own business for the last 4 years, basically, and then to do this is pretty crazy. But if you can have some sort of backing or stableness to it while you improve, I think that's so important because, maybe you'll get lucky and people be really nice and you get represented well. But more than likely, you won't make it, or you'll get taken advantage of from a representative standpoint, and that's just not something that we're going to have. It's not going to happen to us at this point,
right.
To a degree that potentially could.
Well, I forget who Tim had somebody on today, and the name's on the tip of my tongue, and I just was checking him out on Facebook, and he's I think he works for Fox Sports 1. He was on the morning
Travis.
after this morning. Yeah, there you go, Chris Travis.
And
so I'm sorry, what is it?
His name's Clay Travis.
Clay Travis. I apologize, Clay. But yeah, he was just saying, he was working, making maybe $45,000 a year, and he was just grinding like you guys are doing, creating more content. And one advertiser came in and he said, I watched the dude write a check for $50,000 fucking dollars for 3 months worth of advertising. I mean, and that was just one check, just one ad. So I'm just like, fuck, dude. And I know, man, there's just people making just killer dough doing this. So again, man, kudos to you guys, hats off, and I'm just anxious to see you guys continue to grow, man.
We're very excited, man. We appreciate guys like you, Jeffrey, and the folks who tune in every night. It's a lot of fun, and just again being able to have the conversation and finally watch people move forward. Often we watch the news or get on Twitter or Facebook, we see so much negativity, and it's so great to build a circle of people that not only that you trust, but you can have positive conversations and find ways to be better, whatever is, even if it's at your craft or at life. To be able to build that circle has truly been a treat.
And that are doing. I mean, I'm a little older than you guys, and if I had $1 for every person who's like, man, I'm gonna cats, or this everything's in the works, or you know what I mean? It's like there's just not a lot of real action going on, and I cannot abide by those kind of like almost hypothetical conversations. We all kind of have them, but we're also doing shit. But I don't know. That's just we're doing. So that's definitely something, something positive opposed to just not talking about it. We're being about it, which is cool. Not to bring up, I'm not going to bring it down, but you guys can give whatever your opinion. You don't have to give exactly who you're voting for, but this 2016 fecal show that we've all been privy to these last couple of weeks, we had the RNC, now we have the DNC this week. Me personally, I'll just straight up, I'm apolitical. These are two sides of the same coin necessarily. I don't even know. You guys know me. I host a conspiracy farm, so I could go down the list of, Bilderberg and who controls these motherfuckers. But what are your thoughts on all of this? Like you were talking about, Travis, there's so much vitriol. It happens every 4 years, but there's a lot of vitriol, man. They're like touching all of like the nerve points of like religion and race. And what are your thoughts on all this?
Here's my thing. I think, Jeffrey, and again, this may be being over optimistic, but I feel like when you have these type of conventions and when they tend to go negative, I feel like they touch on a nerve of most Americans that generally do not live their lives that way. People don't live their lives on the edge of a political sword. And so It blows me away sometimes that when people express their political views, I honestly believe that's not who they are deep down inside. It's something that the maybe folks in the media or these politicians want to bring out of you in order to urge you to go a particular direction.
Or just regurgitating your parents' thing. You know what I mean? A lot of people can't think for themselves and just kind of regurgitating their parents' stuff. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
And no, and that's exactly it. I feel like this political process, I've told Chris time and time again, I think we should just give Obama a 2-year extension and we can figure it out here in 2018 and we'll figure out our things later. But you're right. We talk about this, and Jeffrey, you know this as well as anyone. It's the system. And no matter whether you're Democrat or Republican or whomever you decide to vote for this come November, it's the system that truly needs a looking at. And until we get to that point where we can, as Chris has pointed out several times, blow this motherfucker up, we're going to be stuck with
watch out now. Secret Service, I didn't say it. How about them Cardinals, man?
But essentially, so we get to the point where we can blow the system up to where we can actually bring about tangible change. Every 4 years, we're going to be faced with the same dilemma.
Yeah.
Yeah, it needs to happen as far as some kind of a whatever. As far as just the nastiness that you talked about, Jeffrey, and again, social media is probably the worst place to look because you're not. I said this on our show last night. I wish people would start acting like whomever they were speaking to was at arm's length so they could either be punched or hugged by somebody.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean that. And I think that's a very simple statement, but if I read one more thing about, well, this means you're a racist or this means you hate whomever, I think Donald Trump's a fucking idiot, and I think Hillary's probably at best a crook. And again, this Gary Johnson guy, to me, and again, maybe I need to be more informed longer and speak up more at the same time. There's self-improvement things that can happen too. But this guy, Gary Johnson, seems to make a whole lot of fucking sense to me. And
why would you want the nut on the right or the nut on the left when you can have the Johnson?
You know what? Hit that Johnson. Let's all three jump on the Johnsons. Oh, I'm saying. No.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Wait a minute.
Travis is a Johnson supporter too.
You know what? I think when you have been faced with the options we've been faced with, you really have to take a deep look inside yourself and begin to ask yourself what's important to you, what's important to your views. And again, I don't believe most Americans live their life at the edge of this sword that we constantly see in the media every day. I have tons of Republican friends, I have tons of Democratic friends, and no one lives their life based on every breath of words that come out of Obama's mouth or comes out of Hillary's mouth or Trump's mouth. Everyone's doing what we always do. We're all out here grinding, trying to take care of our families, protect ourselves, live a happy life. No one's sitting out here. Yeah.
Let me ask you.
I think people are so, like I said, I don't think a lot of people don't know who the fuck they are, man. So like I said, there are a lot of times where they're just regurgitating what Bill O'Reilly says or CNN says. Right. And they're just so reactive, man. Everybody is so reactive, like ready to, I saw something on Facebook, let me comment. And it's like everyone's looking for some shortcut to thinking, like, you said that, Travis, you said something about Trump, so you must be for Hillary or vice versa. Like like Christy said, some binary choice. No, motherfucker, there's plenty of gray here. You know what I mean? Don't try to make it seem like it is so.
Right.
Right. And let me say this, and man, I alluded to this on our show last night too, but I mean, we're in more of a free zone as far as the FCC is concerned with your show, Jeffrey. Fuck these fucking people alleging racism for choosing a third party. Kill yourself immediately. I'm so fucking fed up, and I take it personally because the things that people hate, the horrible things that have happened to minorities, people of different races, different things like that, you're applying the same fucking principles whenever you say, oh, white people, you have this choice. There's a point that could be made out of saying we can't vote for Trump. He's going to infringe on people's rights without saying you're fucking racist.
But it's almost like what I was saying. Saying something like that, it's catered to that group that's going to react in that way.
Yes.
They're going to get X amount of people to react when you say that word.
Yes. You would get slapped in the face at least if you said that to me, to my face. I'd just try and make you look stupid. If you did that,
and it just obfuscates the issue. It takes the point off the fucking whatever's being. It's almost like the DNC thing. Like the DNC emails are talking about how there's inside baseball shady shit going on, and then they all of a sudden like the fucking Russians. Like this isn't 1980s anymore, dude. The Cold War's fucking over. The Russians, whatever, they didn't do shit. Let's talk about you guys manipulating the fucking process. fuck the Russians. You know what I mean? It just winds up taking the focus off of what's actually going on, like you're talking about, this system being just absolutely rigged or corrupt, whatever the fuck you want to call it.
No, and it comes back, even if we want to bring it full circle, again, it comes back to the era of divisiveness. And as I've said before, when it comes to Chris and I's relationship, we come from, again, two different worlds, if you will. But it doesn't mean that I can't have a conversation with Chris about anything. It doesn't mean we don't have a lot in common. I find it just frustrating that when we put those barriers in between ourselves, when we have so much more in common. And I even mentioned it last night on the show. Here in a few weeks, or in a couple weeks, we're going to be watching the Olympics, and there's going to be so much of American pride spewed on Facebook and Twitter, and it's going to almost be the biggest kumbaya moment, at least for 24 hours for our country, because we come to the realization, oh, yeah, we do have a shit ton in common. And here it is.
Right.
And so,
this goes back to what you were saying in the beginning, how you two met, and I was even going to make this point. I mean, this, like you said, we set these own fucking barriers up ourselves, and we have way more in common than we have different, but we fall for the bullshit, the okie doke constantly, man, and it's just like, that's what I'm saying. This whole thing is like so WWE, and it's just like, man.
Yep. Right.
But it's so it wouldn't be so funny if it wasn't so damn dangerous. You know what I mean? It's like you're seeing violence going down. I mean, and obviously the impact of this election is huge when you start talking about Supreme Court justice appointments, etc. But I mean, some of the visceral shit that's going on, man, it's scary. It's quite scary.
It's when I see people, screaming for Trump or crying about Bernie or things like that, I see people that don't know how to handle real life situations, and it's
right.
and it's spewed out over that. And again, I love passion. I love standing up for what you believe in.
Well, these are the same people that Lewis Black, the comedian. These are the same people that when the principal came over the PA and spoke, wept openly.
Right.
They believe, they're fucking believers. They just like they want to believe in anything. And it's just like whatever. Like I said, I don't want to take it too crazy, but I would be derelict in my duties if I did not bring it up, because obviously I've heard you guys talking about it, and it's clearly all over the 24-hour news cycle. Gentlemen, this has been absolutely awesome, man. I'm definitely going to have to get you guys on again sometime. Do you want to shout out any social networking, any of your good stuff so we can track you boys down?
Travis, your Twitter's really easy to find, right?
Very easy, in fact. I'm glad to. It is Black, BLAK, the number 2, the future. Black to the future is where you can find me on Twitter. And, of course, you can find all of our content and everything we produce for We Are Live on weareliveradio.com.
That's right. August 5th, come out and hang out. Jeffrey, we got to get you back on for anything, man. We love
it would absolutely be my pleasure. Absolutely, man. It's been awesome. And ladies and gentlemen, if you want to check these guys out, they are on, what is it, Monday through Friday, 7 to 10, 8 to 10? What is it?
Yeah, 7 o'clock every night of the week. I always tell people, just go to iTunes or Inside STL or whatever, our Facebook page, download shows. We got cool names, all that good stuff.
CBS Sports Radio, 920 AM, 105.7 HD2 FM, or, like you said, InsideSTL.com. Man, Travis, Chris, thank you so much, guys.
Thank you so much, Jeffrey. A lot of fun.
Grinding, dude. Quite an inspiration,
Absolutely.
Quite frankly, man. I'm glad to see being around cats who are doing it, being the better them that they can, or the best them that they can, and all that good shit. Thanks, man. Appreciate it, guys.
Right.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been, fuck yeah, man. A lot to be excited about, man. This has been the host of We Are Live, Chris Denman, Travis Terrell. Stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen.